Okay, I am theoretically on the air. Let's see if that's actually the case. I go to my channel. Now live. It says I'm live. Okay. Turn the volume way down. Okay. I have a link. Just a sec here. Conlangs and conscripts with me. A while ago, somebody on Reddit basically asked me if I would be willing to produce a writing system for the Eastern Berbers of North Africa, who apparently lack one. They can write in Arabic, they can write in a modified form of Latin, or they can write in a script called Tiffnig, which is suited to the Western Berbers, but not the Eastern Berbers. It doesn't reflect the languages. So there's like 6 languages in the Zenati language family. So I did that. I produced a script I call Zenati, and I have given that out to the person that asked me about this, and I'm hoping to get feedback from people as to whether or not they actually like it or would use it or anything like that. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Excuse me. But it was an interesting exercise. And then I thought I should try producing a different style of the same writing system so that there's some variety in the font so that I can look for weaknesses in the design that I came up with and hopefully, improve the original design. Um, it will undoubtedly get changed based on feedback from users, but I don't have that feedback yet. So that's cool. Uh, what I have done is tried modifying it uh, in a manner inspired by one of my favorite fonts, Bodoni. So I tried to modify this. I tried to modify the original design to look sort of like Bodoni. I'm not ripping it off completely, but trying to imitate some of the features like that because it's a very clean design, and in part because I watched a video from another designer who was saying that a famous Italian designer that I cannot for the life of me remember the name of. Anyway, he said basically that for Latin fonts you really only need 6 fonts, and one of them was Bodoni. And I looked at it and thought, that's it's a really clean font. It's used for an awful lot of advertising and things like that. That would be a good one to try and see if I can imitate to some degree. So if I go back to here, there. This is the font that I produced. I will show you a preview. There. That's what it looks like. It's deliberately blocky and simplistic because I wanted to keep the elements of it very, very basic and work on refinements after that. If I'd stylized the thing really heavily, then the distinguishability of the individual letters would be a little obscured, and I didn't want to do that. So if I go over here and wipe that out and write Zenati, that is Z, E, the vowels attached to the previous consonant, N, A, T, I. That would be Zenati, or one of the languages called Shawiya. That is not right. That's not right either, is it? Oh, it's 'cause it's got the wrong letter. I'm doing it wrong. There, show we up. This is all designs that were originally inspired, shall we say, from the ancient writing that the Libico Berbers had. I think I've got a graphic here. Yeah. So this is the sort of stuff that they had like 1,000 years ago, but it was an abjad. So only the consonants were written. And well, quite frankly, we've developed other writing systems since then, even Arabic and Hebrew that started off as being abjads became abugidas, where the vowels were written in with diacritics. And I thought I will produce an alphabet because that has the least number of symbols, and this was the result. Now, this is the original one. What I wanted to do was try restyling it to look a little more like Bodoni, and I'm still working on that process, but here's what the difference is. So this has more stylistic elements in it. It still has the same shapes. It has the little serif bits on the top here and bottom. It has a little bit of styling and shape on the bottom there, and I'm trying to refine that look. And that's what this is going to be about, is just taking this and seeing what more revisions I can make. All of these writing systems, whether it's for conlangs or in this case a real world writing system, but it's still a created one. All of them evolve for me anyway, iteratively. I will make a tiny change somewhere, and that will inform other changes elsewhere, and it just basically goes from there. Um, so I have made a few changes offline. Come back here. This glyph here used to be much more rounded. I squared it up again. I'm going to change this marker at the bottom there. What else have I done? I put this little sort of curved flourish on the bottom here on the vowels. I have changed the weight of the center lines in here so that they're consistent curves all the way down. That was actually fairly difficult to do and still have it look okay. I think it looks okay now. That meant that the same curves needed to be applied in here. Oh, I've just noticed a thing I haven't fixed. Contour, move overlap. Oh, it actually has to, I have to actually go in and fix that. Just a sec. So right. Okay, that there needs to be dragged over there. And then we could try it all again. There. Okay. And that probably means that the other glyphs that are similar to it have the same problem. Yes. So both in there. 10. Boom. The rest of it should be okay. So this is just the basic glyphs. Those ones there, and there's a few more down here. And then there's a scratch pad over here. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, here, there. There's a little scratch pad over here of shapes that I've used elsewhere, and I just saved the pieces there so that I can save myself some time. But the basic idea is that this is a. Do I have the full thing here? Just a sec here. I think I do. Here. Okay, so this is basically the full glyph chart of the original design. I haven't revised it for the new stylized version. This is basically an alphabet, even though it kind of has the view of a syllabary when it's done because the glyphs are joined together. I thought that would increase the readability by letting people subconsciously absorb syllables by joining the vowels to the consonants. Perhaps that's wrong. And maybe people won't like that. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I am missing something. That's what's missing here. Okay, I was missing this part here. Where am I going to stick? I don't have enough monitors. Ah, if I put that up there for now, I'll have to look at that. Where I'm really curious about how the script would look in serif. Yes, there you go. Yes, that's how it would look. Yeah. I saw that somewhere and it just kind of stuck in my head that I was going to put that on the bottom. Now, you will note here that the vowels are all descenders. So I'm hoping that that will make it easy for people to remember uh, and distinguish between the vowels and the consonants. You'll notice there's a little spacing problem here after the W, which is probably me just being remiss. Yes, in putting this out to there. And now when we go back, the spacing problem is gone. So yeah, I'm trying to I need another monitor. I can't need another monitor. I have 3 already. I'm trying to make it easy to remember, easy to learn, putting distinct visual elements in places. It does rely on the use of ligatures. I've done a lot of, well, not a lot. It's got a little bit of featural scripting here. There's the features. So these lines in here just ensure that when you want to get, say, where's the last one here? GW is G and W by GW. So when we go back to preview, if I was to type in G and W, that's what they look like separately, but there is a glyph for GW, which is the G with the hook at the bottom and the reverse of the hook at the top, but I'm going to change the top one. Hello, Mr. Something. How you doing? So when you type something in, the feature script will look at what you typed and translate it to the correct glyph. This isn't the best solution. If this was ever to become an actual writing system, then we would want to have it defined in Unicode so it has its own space and all that sort of stuff. But that would take people actually using this, and at the speed Unicode seems to move on things, it would take decades. Well, maybe not decades, but years anyway, to get it defined and adopted. They're very reticent about quickly making changes. And the other thing that happens is all of the software out there that uses Unicode as a standard for what they can display usually lags a few versions of Unicode behind. Like they'll make a modification to Unicode and they'll issue it, and there'll be a whole space for, umpteen different languages. And it will take a while before that version gets adopted by developers and things like that and gets incorporated into operating systems and all that sort of stuff. So there's some lag there too. In the meantime, I've created a writing system, which was a fun project. And if it ever gets used, awesome. If not, well, then I got a Conlang font. And I have had a lot of fun doing it. And now I'm looking at how I can stylize it. Now, if you go back to the original here, you'll see that that hook on the bottom is attached and curves. And I would like to keep that. The one on the top was, well, maybe a placeholder. I'm not sure I like the way, well, I don't mind the way it looks. It's fine. The only other thing that I ever have on the top is a diamond or a dot, depending on which version of the font you're looking at, and they never conflict, so that's okay. I would like to make the bottom hook consistent with the style of this new version, and I don't think I like the version that I've got here. I'm not sure I like that. I certainly don't like it reversed up top there, so I want to change that too, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Hello, Nomad. Hello, fairly new to the series. Have you thought about how your alphabet would translate to handwriting? Everybody asks that. With all of my fonts that I produced. I mean they're mostly Conlang fonts, but um, yes, I have. But okay, when I'm producing fonts for Conlangs, I'm usually doing it with the idea of I want to be able to write about the language in a document. So I want to have a font that I can use to display a word, and then I'll put the International Phonetic Alphabet bit after it, and then I'll put a translation, and I can build on designing my constructed language using a writing system, which makes it more tangible in my mind. So that's what I did with Ashwati when I'm working on that. I've got a design document for the language, which I have rewritten 3 times, maybe 4. And I can use my writing system in there. So I think I subconsciously looked at this here and thought, I'm going to build this as a font, and it hopefully will be okay as a writing system, like handwritten, but I haven't really looked at it yet. It wouldn't be that hard to figure out, and I think that most of these shapes are pretty simple and it could be done, um, and distinguishable when it was done. But I haven't actually tried taking like a felt tip pen and writing in it yet. I should do that. Haven't done it yet. However, oh, you're looking at a very boring screen there. Let's go back to this one. I just noticed the colors on the monitor on the video image there are much darker. Like this is sort of a pale orange color back here, and it's coming out as like really strong red there. So I darkened the colors on my software here so that I could see them, because the defaults are these pale pastels. They're really hard to see, but they're really heavy here. I don't know what the difference is. I and A would look too similar, wouldn't they? Yes, that's a possibility. Here, if we go back over here, if I just write some syllables, well, first off, the vowels, A, I, oh, that's not doing it right, because okay, if I write TA, it attaches the A to the end, right, to the T. If I start a word with A, it displays an isolated version. If I type T after it, oh, actually, T is a bad example. It won't join some of them, but it will where it can, where there's room for that horizontal line to join. If I put a P in there, ooh, B, huh, I might have found an error. Let me check. Maybe it hasn't been compiled. Could be, though. A, B. Oh, wrong spot. Where is it? There. So I've got a problem I've got to track down. So that is TE and then EB. So the E reverses its shape and joins that way. And maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I want to skip that and not do that. I don't know. But the vowels themselves, I'll just put a space in between. A, E, I, O, U. I'm hoping that the longer serif here isn't too confusing. Maybe I need to take it out on here or put it on the other side on the A. The E with an extra line, not so bad. The O and the U are pretty distinct. It looks like the base of the U needs to come down a little bit. Let me take a look at that. What is that? That's just U ISO. Yeah, the base needs to come down a little bit. To there. No, that's wrong too. To there. Okay. Yeah, maybe they are too similar. Maybe that will be a problem. And if I go back to the original, here, boom, they are a little more obvious. So maybe the stylized Zenati Bodoni, Zodoni, I don't know. Maybe that's a little too indistinct. I think those are fairly dissimilar, but these might not be. In which case, I do need to make some change, and I'll have to decide what. Hello, Beanstalk. How you doing? Actually, all of you, welcome to the channel. See if that's working. It is. Hey. So it's all a work in progress. And I'm feeling my way through this because this is the first time I've tried to take a writing system and apply my perception of the principles of somebody else's font. I'm not directly ripping off Bodoni, but I'm taking some of the elements and saying, oh, those are visually distinct bits. What can I adapt to my font? Because I really admire Bodoni. And there's tons of little changes that need to be made in here. For instance, this curved bit on the top of the U. Generally speaking, when you have a curve like that and the rest of things are flat lines like that, even though this part here is the same height as that there, because of the curve, because of the negative space above the curve, this is going to look a little lower. And as a result, usually you're supposed to take these and crank them up just a little bit. And I should do that, but if I'm going to do that, I got to make sure I do it to the same degree across all of the U's in the font. Because right now there is an isolated version, an initial version, and a final version. And I've got featural script down here that separates those more or less. And I have then some special rules in here for what to do with initial vowels, double vowels, and a following consonant, just to make sure everything works right. And I will end up monkeying with that stuff there to get it working properly. However, overall, I'm actually pretty happy with this. I thought about this after I was halfway through this on the last stream. I created a writing system. I gave it back to the person that asked me if I'd give that a shot. I'm waiting for feedback. I haven't got feedback yet. He said he was going to take it when he could and give it to some speakers of the various languages and let them try writing it out and see if it works for them and see if they like it, and then I can get some feedback on it. I haven't actually heard from anybody who speaks any of the Zenati Berber languages like Glyph or Shawiya, or three others that I can't remember the name of. So I haven't heard any feedback. Maybe there's no need for this. Who knows? In which case, it was an interesting intellectual exercise. But the big thing is if the original isn't something that people like right away, or that they want to see changes, or people say, "Hey, I can't tell A from E from I," um, then I need to make changes in the original. If I go to make changes in the original, then I then have to make them again here. And I probably should have waited until I was done doing the whole first one and had feedback and it was a go, or it was good the way it is, or whatever, or nobody cared. Um, but I didn't do that. And because I didn't do that, I'm going to end up doubling the amount of work I do. If a glyph changes in the original, I'm then going to have to change it over here. If I change things here, like really radically because they're indistinguishable, it's not enough visual distinction between two glyphs, then I kind of have to go back to the original or figure out a different way here. So it's an interesting process, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So there are some sort of featural elements here too. I wanted to try and make it easy for people to learn by not having to learn um, too many different glyphs. So this is P and this is B. So if a glyph is voiced, it has that little hook underneath, which I'm going to look at changing. If we look at T, there's D. K, there's G. SH and ZH, although it's actually written with the J. I don't know if you could actually type in ZH and have it do it. You can. Okay. So we have unvoiced versus voiced. Now, in the Zenati languages, they also have T and a dotted T. So this has the dot. To get that, you type in T with a period after it. Now, what that actually means, if I keep in mind, I don't speak any of these languages. Okay, I can read the phonology, I can get feedback from people, but I don't speak them. It's made me interested in learning them, but I haven't done any of that yet. They have a bunch of consonant clusters which are common in these languages, which are like a stop with a velar fricative after it, I think. And I think that's what the dot indicates here. And the reason I put a dot there is because in the Latin version of writing these languages, they have a dotted T or a dotted D or a dotted M or R. So I have that here, and I figured that the easiest way to do it was to assume that the Latin spelling that people had done would be effectively the Romanization for this. So it would be an easy adaptation for people to think, oh yeah, it's a dotted T, right? That could be done another way. I could come up with a different glyph or anything like that, or something like that. What do we have for dotted down here? Just a sec. T dot, D dot. R dot, S dot. So I should be able to type in S dot, yeah, R dot, yes, M dot, oh, dot, gotta hit the right key, and Z, Z. So that's the new version. The old version, if I switch to that font, looks like that. I've used a diamond for the dot there because it's consistent with the very square, linear, equal witness, or equal width things like that. This is more, well, because Bodoni has a dotted I, because, Latin alphabet, I thought the circle looked more in keeping with the style. That hook at the bottom of the Z there, though, is still unsatisfactory to me. I don't like it, and I haven't figured out what to do yet. I will figure something, probably today, and try it out and see if I can find a better thing that I like the look of. I don't mind it in the original, this shape here. I don't mind that at all. But I don't like it in this version. And if you know anything about fonts, you probably know about anchors, and I should be using anchors, and I'm not. If I settle on a final design of this, then I'll go back through and define it all with anchors and put all the diacritics off in their own glyph and combine them that way, and then I can run a script to generate all the characters. Right now, because I'm busy making changes to everything, I'm just changing them directly. So if I make a change to that little hook, I'm going to have to go and copy and paste it all through any of the characters that have it here. That's really not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to have all this stuff generated from a script off the base shapes up here with the diacritics applied, and then you save a copy of that script and you just run it. Or you write some Python, which I don't write, but this program supports Python to do all that sort of stuff too. So what I'm going to do is what I originally intended to do when I started this off, and that is look at variations on how I might do that shape. And I think that part of the problem is, maybe that's a bad one to use. Let me go back and take a look. What else? Maybe this one here. Part of my problem with it, I think, is that this shape here is narrower than the line above it. That won't help with glyphs that have a narrower line there, but maybe that's a problem with those glyphs. Maybe I need to be making sure that all the vertical elements are 3 grid squares wide here, and that this should be the same sort of thing. And I have a limited amount of space here. I don't want to go below that 200 line there, basically, if I can avoid it. I wonder if a sort of diamond shape will hook off there. What? If this script doesn't ever get used and gets forgotten, you're literally going to become Cyril and Methodius of the 21st century. Entirely possible. I've been involved in, well, this would be the third effort to create a real world writing system. The first one was for a language or a writing system, I can't remember, called Afaka, which is spoken by a population in South America who are descendants of slaves taken from Africa. And they had their own language and they kept their own language. And somebody developed a writing system for it, but it wasn't very good, and it didn't have a modern version. This was like 1880s or something like that. So there's an effort to rebuild that, and I volunteered to help with that, and nothing ever really came of it. I joined this work group, and I never heard anything. So I don't know what happened with that one. Lost opportunity. It's too bad. I would like to have helped. The next one was Ndebe, a native speaker of the Igbo language in Nigeria. currently living in the US, I believe, invented a writing system for Igbo based off of cultural artwork. And it's quite clever. I've got videos in that if you want to go check it out. And she came onto Reddit, and I basically volunteered to produce it as a font for her. Now, she has a whole pile of people working on various things, like turning this into an app for iPhone and Android, so that you can write in Debe on the phone, which is probably a major thing that's needed because so many people in Africa carry cell phones, right? Less have computers. I said, well, I'll do the computer side of things for you and build it as a font so that you can at least, write documentation and things like that in it. And I did that. And then she said, well, I've got to make some additions to the writing system. And I haven't heard anything back on that. I should probably check back with her about that. And then there's this, out of the blue, somebody looked at some of my videos on various constructed language writing systems that I produced and said, hey, would you like to try tackling building a writing system for Shawiya, his language, actually for all of that family group? And he explained the problem to me. And of course I said yes, because I firmly believe that every speaker of every language out there deserves a way to write down their language that's designed for their language, because that's how you preserve culture. Basically, I mean, our culture is our language to a very great degree. So, sure, I'll do that. I don't know if it's going to catch on. I don't know if anybody wants it. I have this one person that said, this is a thing that people want. Would you try it? And I've tried it. Maybe nobody will like what I did. I don't know. I think it looks pretty distinctive. I like it. But yeah, I could end up being. Oh, another question. Have you or would you ever try your hand in English spelling reform or alternative alphabet? I have not, and I don't think I would. A lot of the history of English is preserved in its terrible, terrible spelling system, right? The fact that we used to an armored guy on horseback with medieval weapons used to be a knecht, and that's why there's a K and a GH in knight, but we don't pronounce them because the language has changed. That's part of the history of the language. Um, Trying to reform all that is probably hopeless because so many people have already gone to the effort of uh, learning how to write English the way it is. Uh, I haven't tried it. I don't think I would, but it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be a good idea. It's just that I don't think it would ever catch on anywhere. Yeah, yeah, it is. Not as bad as Irish, apparently. Um, a lot of a lot of the spelling of Irish is from medieval Irish or earlier and is nothing near like what they say at the moment. Like the spoken language is completely different. I noticed that with Scots Gaelic. It's the same sort of thing. Um, and yeah, the problem is we have 26 letters in our alphabet, and English has, I think, basically 54 sounds. Oh, there, it caught up. I got my phone in front of me here and I'm seeing chat down here. And then I'm seeing the chat on my monitor on the right there, and it was slower. So something appeared down here and there was nothing up there, but it's not very readable down here, and it wasn't here. John Misali made really good video on spelling reform, English spelling reforms. Hmm. I don't know that, but I will try and remember to look that up. Uh, Definitely we could use it, but is it ever going to catch on is the thing. I mean, US English has differences from British English, and that's fine. It's caught on in the US because the US is such a media powerhouse. Well, caught on in the US because it's the way they spell things, but I mean, it's caught on in the rest of the world because the US is such a powerhouse of, well, just about everything. So frequently I find that I get told I'm spelling things wrong because I'm Canadian and they don't spell it that way in the US. So my software will pop up and say, no, hang on, you've got that wrong. Um, and I have a feeling that down the road, that is going to mean that Canadians start spelling things the American way. And probably a lot of them do, color without the U in it and things like that, just because the software is going to push stuff that way. Um, but a major a major spelling reform for English that actually, well, there's a problem there too. That actually reflected the way it was pronounced would be difficult because spelling is the official version of uh, how something is spelt only because we accept a standard. So there's like a standard for British English, and probably I presume it's the same in Australia and New Zealand, same spelling. There's Canadian English, which is basically British English to a great degree. There's some exceptions. We have aluminum, not aluminium here. And then there's American English, which, has 330 million speakers or whatever. And uh, it has its spelling. But the thing is, that's several versions of English spelling, but there are hundreds and hundreds of dialects of English. And the spelling wouldn't reflect the dialects. We have to have a sort of standard that everybody recognizes, but it isn't a representation of the phonology of the way things are said. Okay, and I am losing some of the chat there because my window is behind another window. Just honestly, I try to have all this stuff set up. I have everything in the right spot before I start a stream, and then it's like, oh my god, I need a new thumbnail. Oh my god, I want to post this to Instagram, but I can't post to Instagram except for my phone, and I produced the thumbnail on the computer, so I then have to email it to myself because I have a PC and an iPhone, and never the twain shall meet. Um, and then I post there and I post here, and I realized that, I forgot to open the chat window because my software normally opens the chat window, but it didn't do it this time because who knows why. It's hilarious. Um, yeah, I don't think it's. I think it would be an interesting exercise that would be ultimately pointless. Um, if I ever get interested in it enough to try and do something about it, I could. But I think I've got things I'd rather do, right? I'd rather try and come up with different writing systems, or actually work on my conlangs, or do something like this uh, that has hopefully greater potential to amount to something, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Rather than just talking, I am going to try building a shape here and just see if it looks any better. So if we go back to the original here, and I go grab this shape, copy, and then we go back over to the stylized version and come back into this glyph, and I paste this. I can move it out of the way, rid of it eventually. But how can I make something that reinforces the appearance of the hook underneath there, but doesn't have the thick element? I could make a thick shape, becomes thinner, which is what this does here, and then curve that. But I think I tried that before and it didn't quite work right. I'm not prisoner to this shape or prisoner to all of this stuff here. I just have to be consistent, and it has to look more like what I thought I had in mind. If I go across, I'm not thinking this through right. Cross. Oh, you're not on the right screen. Maybe you are. Just make a diamond shape. Actually, it could just be that. It isn't at all like the swoosh, but it would be a symbol below. But it doesn't have this narrow little element here. Curve. I think this is beginning to look terrible. No. Okay, where's that bit thing? I tried a bunch of different variations here. That was the one I settled on. I could use that, but if I use that, then it's going to be imitating. Actually, let's take both. It's going to be imitating the descenders on the vowels, and that might not be a good idea. Give me while I just leave scraps lying around. So this here has horizontal and vertical elements and then a curve to transition them. The horizontal ones are wide, the other ones are extremely narrow. I have a narrow element here and a horizontal element here, but what do I do with it? If I get rid of that, just put it out of the way rather than get rid of it, so I've still got it on screen, and I put that in there, like that. Go to preview, so I've got it open, and bring up, what are we on here? Ignore all the detritus in between there. does that work like that? Not really, but maybe it would if it looked like it connected back up. Oh, again, lag there before it hits here. If you ever run out of languages to make scripts for, don't worry because there's a ton of them. Some examples: Istriot, Romanian, the Sami languages, the Siberian languages, Basque, Russian, etc. I can't do all of those, but I know that there are a ton of languages that don't have their own writing system, and I think that's wrong. But as a general principle, too, I don't want to develop a writing system for a language I don't speak, and uh, for well, I'm irony. I am building a writing system for languages I don't speak. I don't want to do it for a language I don't speak and where I haven't had native speakers ask me to do it. I don't want any sort of central sense of cultural appropriation or anything like that. That that would bug me. So in this case, I feel fine with trying to build this because somebody who spoke the language came along and said, "Hey, would you do this thing?" And therefore, I said, "Yeah, sure, I can do that." That's what's wrong with this. It's not sitting directly on the grid. So when I go to line this up, it isn't lining up because it's not on the grid. Okay, if I was to keep that there, but change this part here, where's my knife? There we are. Add a point in there, zoom in a lot, and take this and move it up and make sure it's centered, which would be there, and down one because I've got a gap 2 that way, and that is equivalent to the width here. Does that look any better? It's not the same as this, but sort of. Okay, I am going to get rid of that. Actually, no, I'm going to leave that there, but I'm going to move it over to the right here. And I'm going to move this one over to the right because then everything will start to snap back into place on the left and be in the right spot. And then we'll move that one by getting rid of it. If instead I took that, curved it down, like this curve here, but going down, that might work. Oh, you're not back on here. I need like software that tracks where my eyes are and, switches to preview when I look over at the preview screen. It looks at chat when yeah, don't got that. Control copy, Control V. Have a copy directly over top. Okay, so if I went in there and monkeying with it, raise that up, zoom in a bit. Add a more gradual curve. The only way to make that a more gradual curve is to that over. That actually I'm happened to that too high. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. There's an initiative locally. I'll backtrack. I live in British Columbia on the west coast of Canada. We have a lot of indigenous languages here, and I just had an article I read recently where there's another font designer out there who took I don't know if you're familiar with the Inuit writing system. It's a syllabary, and they took that writing system and they have applied it to another native language that I cannot for the life of me remember. Uh, and they're trying to build a writing system for them by modifying that to produce a version for this particular native language. And they're now in the process of getting it recognized by Unicode. And that's very cool. But there are something like 75 indigenous languages in British Columbia, most of which are in danger of dying off and which desperately need help. And I would be overjoyed to help with the process of doing that if anybody ever approaches me for it, or if I can get in contact with people. But I would want to work with somebody who's a native speaker too, to try and develop something like that. And ideally, I would like to use something that is inspired by the indigenous art of the people that are using it, um, because I mean this is inspired from indigenous art from the Berbers, the Libico Berber people 1,000 years ago or whatever. I don't know how long ago it was, quite a while. Uh, I would want to do a similar thing to try and be culturally consistent with uh, the the people that you're doing it for, so it uses artwork or symbols or as shapes that are defined by somebody who has a connection to the culture and the population and everything. I think that would be a far better approach to doing things. Haven't had the chance to do that. I would love to do it if I get the chance. So if we just put a slight curve on that and then have it come down like that, um, is that better than the other shape? I don't know. Would it be better if this was just a curve right up to there? Which screen do you want? You're on the right one. Okay. Maybe it'd be better if that was just a curve here. Maybe it would be better if it was all an angle. I go back over to preview and see, put in this shape here being a parallel to that might look a little confusing. It'd be better if it was visually distinct. But this shape here is quite one I like either, and I can't use that one there and have it be consistent with this font. Um, oh, I could try that. Just a sec. Could simply take this here to move it way down. To zoom in and change the curves here. Bring the bottom one up. This here, put up to there. Obviously, this line is no good. Um, whole shape. Go over a little bit so I can make sure I'm snapping to grid. Down a bit. This here probably need to pull up to there. Actually, too long. That's way too narrow. That up to there. Up. Probably over. Okay. This there is 19. That bit. The you you can't see what screen I'm on. This you can't see it here probably, but under my cursor is this handy little line that tells me the distance of everything. So I can see if I'm being consistent or close enough. Now what I am going to do is bring that down a little bit. Oh, it's got a Control Z. Get rid of that line there. Break. Gone. Reconnect. Now bring that down a bit. That. Hello, cannot compute. How you doing? How are things in UK? Must be your evening there. I am trying to replace this shape, which I don't like, with a shape that I do like, and I haven't found one yet. This one could go. This one is easy enough to replicate and can go. I am going to try that. Oh, want all of it. Under here. And zoom in so I can raise it up to about there. And I have plenty of copies of that, so that could go. Means this margin needs to go back to there. So does that look better than that one? I think it does. However, I need to move over here and put the base of it on 200 line. Do I? No. Just a sec. Let me take a look at A. That bit there is anchored on the top of the 250. So we're on, what shape was I on? That one there. That there should be there, even though the curve goes the other way. That should be more consistent, I think. Shows a problem with the original one. When you look over here, this is the new shape here, and this part here is now lined up with that part there. So the fact that they curve below, that's okay stylistically with me. I don't know about this angle here, but I'm okay with it. It lines up with that more than turns away from it. This bit here, I just noticed that this line here is not at all lined up with those. So those are all wrong in the first case. but I think I like straight down and over better than I like curved and over and the wrong size. But that begs the question whether or not what I really need to do is just adjust the size of the other one too. So I'm going to do that. But I just noticed the thing in here too. That go down to there. And I need to change that line just a bit. Probably there. Sure. Oh, maybe that. No, that's there. Maybe what I need to do, add a line in. No, no. No, 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 no. Knife. And then move that over to there. Adjust this then. All this finicky stuff that would be greatly improved probably if I knew more about font design, but I'm still learning. Okay, that could be brought up to there. Then these could be adjusted so that they stay a bit more consistent. Um, it's it's finicky stuff, so that doesn't help. But I I think that I can actually do something here. And get it pretty progressed. I don't want to go past a certain point. I'm not building the entire font yet. Like I don't have any punctuation. Uh and I don't have numbers and stuff like that. The numbers are just going to be the Latin number system. That's what everybody uses everywhere. Uh the punctuation, I will probably end up actually imitating Latin punctuation for that. Uh because punctuation isn't as obvious as, I don't know how to put that. It's I've it's really hard to build punctuation that looks distinctive uh and not like existing punctuation. And then when you encounter it, because you don't see it that often, even when you're learning to read your own writing system, it's easy to get it confused. So I tend not to build too much punctuation, and when I do, I tend to imitate the stuff used in Latin. I have to say, um, most writing systems don't actually have any punctuation that I understand, and a lot of them have adopted uh, Western punctuation. So you'll see, I don't know, say tie and then something in brackets, because the brackets and the other punctuation is useful, but it's not part of their writing system. No, that may not be true of tie. I remember looking at it and I really liked it, but I don't remember the details, and I don't speak Thai. Um, so I think I can get a fair amount done. I've done a little bit offline. Um, I'm overall pretty happy with this and ready to take on some other projects soon. Uh, I will undoubtedly end up coming back to this. And I've only been streaming for an hour. I am not going to do a 5-hour stream like I did last time because, quite frankly, I got a lot done and I was happy with it and I had a great time doing it and I like talking to people, but nobody watches them on YouTube. I'm not surprised, right? Almost nobody. Uh, so I will get like, 50 views or something like that from people checking it out while I'm streaming it, but people don't stick around. I guess they maybe think, well, it's neat and carry on, or, oh, I'll come back later and look later. Um, or watch it at double time speed or something like that. And then when it's done and it's just a video on my YouTube channel, it'll get another 20 or 30 views from somebody who probably don't watch the whole thing. So making long live streams isn't actually worth it. I've decided to make shorter ones, and then people can watch them or click through them and see how things progress as they go. I am trying to make more YouTube videos, but that is really problematic. I have a hard time getting going on that. It's to me not knowing what I'm doing yet. Okay, when I look at this, I prefer it to that. That's enough for me to take this and zoom out, put you on the right page, zoom out, copy this sucker, go back to my scratch page or scratch glyph, paste it in there so I haven't lost it. And I can grab it again later. And then I'm just going to go and apply it to all of the glyphs that it would normally appear on. Yes, this is the conundrum for me. Yes, it would be better to come up with my own. And it may turn out that for speakers of Zenati, they do actually have some punctuation that I just didn't come across. Maybe there's stuff they use, don't use. There. Maybe it's just not a thing that's needed. Regardless whether or not I'm building a conlang or not, it's pretty much always the last thing I build because it's the most finicky. That one's done because that's the original. And then we have here. Oh yeah, this shape. It might not look. Oh, quite get it. There. Right. Copy that one actually, and I can use it elsewhere. Right here. And the same thing with the numbers. There are other copy in the right spot. Weird. There are other numerical systems out there that have been supplanted by Arabic numerals. What we use, and honestly, that's fine to me. I have built numbers for Ashwadi and things like that, and they're okay. They work. About there. I'll end up redoing all of this stuff at some point. Anyway, a lot of these. Really, what I hoped to get done out of this was to finish this bottom shape and replace the one on the top. This up here with something else. And like I said earlier, you may not have been here, I don't know. I am aware that I should be doing all this stuff with anchors, and then I would just do it once and it would all be right. And I'm not doing it that way, and that's a mistake. I know that I'm doing that. If this ever becomes a finalized font that actually is going to be used for anything, and I'm not going to be making further changes, then I will stop cutting and pasting things, and I will do it the right way around and just produce a final version that has anchors and everything else in place so that stuff can be generated. But since I could easily be changing everything everywhere in some major way, um, I haven't bothered. Easy solution is to not have punctuation or spacing or anything like in the old time Latin, and just write out the numbers phonetically. No, not necessarily. I mean that is a solution, but mostly we don't do that. If this ever became a viable writing system, then it's gonna need to have a slot in Unicode, and it would need to have a language pack built for Windows and the Mac OS and Linux, so that you could do that. And if it had a slot in Unicode, then all of these glyphs would go into those positions in Unicode. And then you could build a font to be used with that, and you could use it. It could be used as your operating system and everything else. Then it would become an official writing system, as far as computers are concerned. But as it stands right now, uh, oh, the point of that was it wasn't me heading off in a completely different direction entirely. Is that we use numbers all over the place, and having them all spelt out wouldn't work for a lot of things like that. If it ever ends up on a phone, you need to be able to type numbers in, right? Whatever they may be, even if you use different symbols. But it's not a thing I'm worrying about at the moment, just because I don't think I need to worry about it at the moment. So that's all those done. Um, and now we need to look at the rounding symbol, which is, where is it? There. Actually, I'll use PW. That's not quite right either. Oh, I got reset spaces in there. So I put that back. That's what I'm doing. I had a problem last stream with uh, margins being set, and I forgot that I had gone and used this trick to set them all equal to H, but some of them had values added to them. So I figured out what the problem is, and I can fix it now. That was the thing I was going to look at. No, not just. No, that doesn't let you do it. Huh. I'll tell you, I stream on Twitch, but it's games there, not Conlang stuff. And the tools on Twitch are so much more evolved, I guess. It's really kind of funny. Now, if I go back over to preview and type in, well, one of our local languages here. Walk, voila, walk. Not a Zenati word. This is me using my script to write the name of one of the local indigenous languages on Vancouver Island here, Kwakwalawak. I used it because it's got lots of this glyph in here. And it does not matter what that glyph is up there as long as it is not a circle, as long as it is visually distinct from a circle, because we have the T dot, T dot, for instance. So it could be a V shape, a slash, anything. Um, oh, hello, Feral Kitty. How you doing? It's slowly getting somewhere. But what I'm debating is what to do with this shape here because I don't like it. I changed the bottom shape down here and it's still not perfect. The lines are not as equal as I would like them to be. But it's better than it was. But this shape up here, I don't like. It's a matter of graph paper. That's what I do. Do I have some here? Just a sec. I'll try not to unplug my headphones while I'm doing this. Just pull some out at random. When I start off with, I don't know if that's going to come through okay. Shapes on graph paper. Tons and tons of shapes on graph paper. And that way, I can be consistent as to line width, and I can make, oh man, that really doesn't show up well. There. I can make shapes and be consistent and everything else. And graph paper is pretty cheap. You can buy like a stack of 5 pads and stuff like that. And I draw in pencil. Well, thank you. Thank you, Nomad. The original, we'll just bot back to the original here, was designed to be simple and blocky so that people could look at it and I do have that a little bit of stylization for the thing on the top and stuff like that, but not too much. That's it. I wanted it to be simple and blocky so people could look at it and say, yeah, I like those shapes and I can tell them apart. Or no, I don't like those shapes. I can't tell them apart. I always intended to try and produce a more artistic version of it. And this is that. But the first version, I could see that being used on the side of a truck to advertise Coca-Cola or something like that. This here, I could see being used, I don't know, on the name of a restaurant or something like that. And I will try making other variations on this perhaps down the road when I come up with an idea of what I'd want to do. But the idea was to make a simple set of shapes that people could look at to begin with to see if they like the look of it at all. And then the idea behind this one is to remind people that they're not stuck with those simple shapes, that I can produce stuff that looks a little different. And basically, I don't think people can look at a writing system without looking at the art very well. They don't look at the elements. They get lost in the style of the art and everything. And that's totally understandable. But I'm trying to look at it as an actual system of, does it make sense to use this shape of glyph versus that shape of glyph? Are these two glyphs too close? Does one of them need to be changed to make it different? What shape could I use that wouldn't make it conflict with something else that might be too close? And all that takes a lot of effort. On the last letter, I prefer the diamond more than the dot on the top. They are different. The dot on the top marks a consonant with a sort of, I think it's a velar fricative after it that is part of this. The diamond shape actually isn't a diamond. It's this hook shape right here. So it's a parallel, like a flat line with a hook underneath it. And I want to change that, but I haven't figured it out. But they are different. Make a bubbly style. Ooh, yeah, probably. Right? How would this writing system work if I was making titles for anime or something? Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. Hard. really hard, all curves and oh. I like my grid lines. I like my nice even curves where I can measure the grid positions and everything. Um, I am probably 80% technically oriented on trying to get everything to line up and figure out a system and stuff like that, and 20% on the art side. I increment my way to a look. Um, there was a difference in the two fonts. Oh, if I'm flicking between the two, if we go back to here and I go to the original, yes, the diamond shape there. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I got you. I didn't know what you meant. I see. I thought you were referring to this shape here on the new version. Um, yes, but the dot is more consistent with my inspiration, which is Bodoni, which uses a dot on the eye, of course. Um, I could leave it as a diamond, um, but there isn't very much in this writing system at the moment that has now I'm noticing all sorts of them, but um has lines on an angle and certainly nothing diamond shaped uh at all. But I have paralleled that line there with that line there, more or less. Actually, I think exactly, which was part of the intention. I'm still not quite happy with this curve here, but I am still profoundly unhappy with this. And um on the original version, it was just the reverse of this, but I was unhappy with it there too. So whatever I come up with here, if I come up with something that I like, I'm actually going to go back to the other one and produce the same shape there. Um, what? That was another thing. Oh, I know, and it's all subject to change anyway. Um, I'm thinking. Sorry for the long pause while I think. Since I have no background music or anything like that, I guess I should add in some background music of some sort. Oh. I made some links up and I forgot to use them. Um, that was utterly pointless. Why did I spend time on that? I made up a thumbnail link just to be able to display the thumbnail. I was going to put that early on and I don't think I did. And if you guys like what I'm doing and want to help me, I made up a Patreon link. You can go to my Patreon, and if you sponsor me for $1 a month, you can download the fonts that I've got and play with them if you want, or load them up and pick them apart and see how I've done things. Hopefully, I have to get more natural at doing that. So, thinking about now, you got me thinking about the circle there, the dot. If I go back to where the dot is, I wonder if I could be consistent by oh, you can't copy that like that. No, no, no. Undoing things I didn't mean it to undo. I'll just make the shape myself. I wonder if I could pen. Do just a grav accent shape like that. Fixed because it's a little wonky. The other one would be okay. If I could use that instead of the dot. And but then it shouldn't be that wide. It should be narrower. It would have to be like that. Trying to think of what I could do that would be the diamond shape without being a diamond, because this doesn't suit a diamond to me. Okay, up on the preview screen. And what is this? This is D dot. So D dot, D dot. Would it look better with the grav? Remember if that's a grav or an acute. Over top. Problem with this is it looks like a European diacritic, but then so does the dot, I suppose. I think if I was going to do that, I would do better to use a V shape with that. Let us copy that, go back to the scratch pad, pop it in there, back here to, where is it? I've lost it. Must be hard to read. D dot, should be, oh, right there. Tool, transform, flip horizontal. Again, a European diacritic. But does it look better than what I had before? And it would need to come down. Actually, if anything, Control 10, that. What I might want to replace the glyph that I do not like with, if anything. Maybe more space. That will, I've keyed on here and what I want. Will. I don't mind that. Means it needs to go on the other glyph that would have that. Here. Only two of them. Centered. Raised up. A bit like that. So that would be those two changed there. That would not be what I would want to do here. No, Control Z. So that one still has to have a replacement over it. And yes, maybe I can diamond it. Oh, you can't see the screen because it didn't follow me when I changed screen. Because, you know. So if I go back to the regular and go grab the original shape here, come back over here and go to here. And this obviously doesn't work the way it is, but to raise it up, no, not that. And then say that up, like I did with the other element there. All of this down. Say there. Does that look any better? Not really. Same problem here. That needs to be there. That be closed in. You are on the right screen. Good. To have its angle change. So that. No, it needs to be a different shape. Okay. Get rid of that. Remember that I am on D dot by coloring it red. Come back over here. Grab that. Back to D dot. Drop it in, but put it in the right spot. And I think actually it could be a little longer. Just a sec, let me try something else. Now, that is there. That should be Make a bigger circle. Try that again. That big a circle. Overlap. Control F10 in case anyone was wondering. Drop that down. That. Maybe make it wider. Okay, so take a look at that and tell me what you think. Maybe I need to make the circle even bigger, but a circle with a line off of it like that is not an acute accent, is not a grave accent. I have used a circumflex for the rounding, and I could change that, but I think that looks better than just a dot. The dot being the diamond on the other side, which could be replaced. Maybe a bigger circle. Because I got to remember this is going to be looked at when it's very small and it's big on screen here. So let me try a bigger circle. Let us go. I don't think I can go quite that big without it looking. Oh no, that's the same size, right? Then we take that off of the bottom here. Combine all that. Control F10. Get down to there. Get rid of that one. Take that over to there. And it's too close there, so we need to give it more space. There. How does that look, do you think? Better than the dot you said? Okay, sure. I'll go with that. Save that shape. Do the scratch pad. It really is worth making an extra glyph that you know you're going to delete later on, where you leave shapes that you made. Like that there. I can just reverse that, put it over top, and it's got the center of my glyph here. And creating those curves was a royal pain in the butt otherwise. So good idea. So I just made a glyph called bits, all in caps. That's where I tack everything that I've got for shapes that I want to remember. And then when I'm done, I just delete it. Okay, so now we take that shape there. Hack. Keep hitting the wrong button on my keyboard because I'm staring at the screen and not my keyboard. And that is over D dot. And M dot centered then. Oh, there, I guess. I have to refine all this stuff. That'll do for now. And here. 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 Back to the right spot. And here. To move over. There. So now I put in D dot, D dot, go back to D dot, and show you in the preview that it's the same there. Would it look better if this was smaller? That. So that it's basically three grid marks wide, like the shape below it. Although that actually goes over more. Or would it be better if it was moved all the way over to the edge and made full width of the, which I think won't work because some of the glyphs are, yeah, that's not good. I actually think it looks better like that. So now jumping back to the original, that was with a diamond over top, and I'll end up changing that. And then like this. I like it now. I'm not sure I'll like it a week from now, but for now, not bad. Got another screen in the way here. Yeah, that's fair too. It would be the only round element there. So, what about if we took that, copied it, and chopped it apart with the knife? Oh, no. Click off. I don't think I can do that. Chop that off. Chop that off. And then this out in this, and zoom in a whole lot. what I want to do is curve that other way. Oh, broken. Right. Move it over to there. That over. That. And then that up like that. And back. So instead of having the curve, circle, whichever you want to call it, dot, we would have this. Be essentially the same size. So, oh, you can see it on preview. Sorry, I was drawing it on the wrong screen there. What do you think about that shape as opposed to the circle with a line or dot with a line? Inquiring minds want to know, and there's apparently 4 of you out there, so that, though, should then mean that maybe it should be wider. Because it's narrower across this way than this line, it would be more consistent if I made it wider. Okay. Chat on my phone is again ahead of chat there. Now, if I'm going to be consistent, this should be 3 wide, not 2 wide. So that should actually look more like that. And therefore should probably be longer, like that. And then the whole thing should go back a bit. That. Well, this is the thing. Another step of testing something like this is to produce it as a font, which I have yet to do, and then try typing in it at, say, 10 point. Is it readable? If it isn't, then I might need to adjust the sizes of everything. Really, it should be readable at least at 10 point and 12 point. Anything larger than that shouldn't be a problem. It might not be readable at lower than that, and that could be a problem, I suppose. Then I might need to look at, and I've never done this. There is a way to have the same font, but have it one set of proportions at a smaller scale, and when it hits a certain point, it changes to a different set of proportions. I'm pretty sure I've seen that, but I don't remember how to do it. It might be that the horizontal lines here disappear entirely at small scale. I'm not sure about that either. It might be that the space here is too narrow and needs to be increased. That's why I tried this here. I will have to go and try that. Now, oh, wrong way. This range here, from that line down to there, is the standard size of a Latin small lowercase letter, right? Up to here is the standard height of an uppercase letter. So try that in here just to make sure. So if you go back to here, that character on the right is the one that I'm using for a Y. It is full height. Nothing should go above this level here, because when you're here, there is this little safety margin. This is the 700 unit line. There's a 50-point safety margin up here at 750 that is intended to make sure that anything at the top end of the uh, glyph gets displayed properly, and there's a little space between that and the line above it. And then down on the bottom here, the I've left a 1 grid square distance here space as well from the descender line, which is at minus 250. Yes, I'm just worried that well, I can move this to the point where it's more or less centered. Chop the tail back to the left. See what that looks like too. Uh, actually, no, off. But actually need to be a little wider than that to be balanced for here. So put there. Over to there. This not. Um, there, that's different proportions. It's not quite as wide. Um, the original shape on regular doesn't matter because I'm getting rid of it. It was a diamond. Uh, so ignore its existence entirely. We're getting rid of that shape. It's a matter of whether or not this looks more in keeping with the style of the rest of it. And I think it's not bad. Basically, I'm going to have two shapes possible above. And right now, that is D dot with this shape, D dot, sorry, D dot with this shape instead of the T dot shape there, and that circumflex or whatever it's called. No, it's not a circumflex. But anyway, that shape over top there, and I'm probably going to change that now too because it's not quite right either, and I'm not sure why, but some other shape is needed. Um, it's supposed to indicate rounding, so maybe I should use a curved shape, a really curved shape. That might work better. But I think I like this shape better than that shape. So I will apply this shape where the dot used to be for now. Back to bits. Sure. And where is there a dot up top? Anywhere? No, none of them up there. They're all down here. Better zoom out. Let me puzzle out that then. Just a sec. Maybe put the serif on top. It would look more natural because the diamond would probably be written from bottom to top. Not sure I understand what you meant. I appreciate getting suggestions. That helps. If I was going to write this glyph in the middle there, it would be a hook, the glyph, and the hook at the bottom. The one beside it, it would be write the glyph, put a circumflex over top, and then the hook at the bottom, probably. I've just noticed that those are not consistent with the centering of the bottom hook. But I'm not sure I follow what you mean there. I think usually anything with a diacritic like that, people tend to write the letter then the diacritic. And what I said earlier was that I would write it that way, and I'm wrong, I'm sure. I think I would write the letter, then the mark over top, then the mark in the bottom. But coming up with the shape that I like, why did T-dot still have the wrong shape? Oh, because I never got that far. And it might be that I will abandon this one too and not like it. It just occurred to me what I could do with it to make it a replacement for the other one. So now I have to go try that. That'll do there. So now, instead of that shape there, I could take a page from this. You are not on the right page. Could make a very heavy-handed glyph like this. And try that over top and see how it looks. Instead of this grav there, that might look way too heavy though. And be kind of not the right proportions here. All right. That. What is this one? This is Qua. So go back over here and go Qua, option 1, Qua, very heavy. But it will be more distinguishable. But is it going to be confused when you have that there? Do I have a Discord server? Yes, I do. Do I have an address for it here? No. Just a sec. Why don't I have an address for it here? That's really weird. Just a sec. Let me bring up a browser. Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, no, actually, I don't need to do that. To go here, go there. wait for it to load. And then remember where the hell I go to get the link for it. I'm not a big Discord person yet. I'm still working on it. Oh, I know what I can do. I can try and be a little more on the ball and go to my Twitch layout where I do have the Discord link. Copy it. And put back. Want that layout for that. It does a little bit. Oh, sure. Ah, there. Yep, use copy button. Copy. But can I paste into chat on my stream when YouTube and OBS don't give me the tools for that? Possibly. There. Ah, there. Yep, use copy button. Copy. But can I paste into chat on my stream? Does that show up? It does. Just has some delay. There. Okay. There. Discord. Now. Looks too European, like on the letter C or S. I know. But I don't know what to do with it. See? Punctuation. Diacritics are akin to punctuation. There you go. Okay, so it needs to be a distinctive shape. Just don't know what that is. I will say there's hardly any font stuff on my Discord server right now. It's on the list. I got to work on that. What there is a lot more of my Twitch streaming, and even then, there's not much there. I stream a game called Dark Age of Camelot, mostly on Twitch. That looks too much like that. If I reversed it, it would do the same thing. If I I don't want it to look like existing diacritics in European languages because part of the point of this project was to give people a writing system that did not look like it was being written in Latin. this is going the wrong way then. And any of these diacritics, well, the one on the right's probably the best of those three. The one on the left is a diacritic, commonly used on languages. The one in the middle is just a heavy-handed version of the same diacritic. The one on the right arguably could be viewed as an acute or grave accent, whichever one goes top to bottom. So it's a matter of coming up with a shape that is consistent with, actually, look at the Bodoni thing there. What if I went thick to thin? I can't run a cursor over that image because it's not on screen. It's an actual image. What if instead of this, because I don't mind that, but you're right, it does look too European perhaps. Put it over here. Rid of that. Try drawing another shape. Just get on the map point, please. Okay. Just a sec before I go and look at that. While I play with this, see if I can make a shape I like. I'm not doing it at the moment. That can't be too blunt. Just what? That looks flat. No, not quite what I wanted either. Gone. Okay. Okay. Stay on the grid. Like the middle thing there. Might need to make the, no, actually that is about the right proportion. Control F10 that. Straighten up some of the thing. Program not consistent. What do you think of that? Definitely different. Oh, does it go past my marks? Kinda does. It would be a little too high if I go back over to here and type in a Y. It is too high for that. It might need to be smaller than that, which is fine. I can redesign it so it's smaller than that. It needs to come down to there. Yeah, so it needs to be smaller than that by 4 units. So the too big. contour. Grab that. Move it up there. Control F10 to make it shape. I kind of like putting this slant back here like that. I won't go as far as I did there. Oh, maybe I will. Yeah. It is the most unique so far, absolutely. And it could actually be bigger. Drawing circles is a pain in the butt. Shouldn't be. Tis. Okay, it could actually be a little bit bigger than that. So I'll try that again. And we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, easier than I thought. Once you start counting. Reverse contour. Grab this. Ten. Thank you. That is much better than any of the others. Now that is on here to replace this. Guangua. Now the only problem is when you look at this, I like this. I'm not wanting to change that. For the moment, I like this shape here. But when you look at the small little diacritics over top on there and the big ass heavy diacritic at the bottom there, now I feel like I need to change the bottom one to be thin like this to be consistent. And therefore, I got to go back and revisit that one to be consistent with the top. But I like that using the Greek S like that. If I go back over to the original, it's radically different. But I was going to replace that top hook anyway, so maybe I should be using this in place of the dots. So I go back over here and go to here, take that and copy it, and go down to something like S dot is zoomed in for some odd reason. And you're not on the right screen. There, S dot. Maybe I should be replacing that thing with this. I'll bring it up on preview and contrast it with Z dot. Preview. So rid of the Y. Z dot with the very old one, and S dot with this. I think the hollow circle is going to be easier to distinguish at a very small size too. I mean, if you go small enough, it's just going to look like a dot. Oh well, whatever. It's a dot over top. But I think it'll be easier. I should use it here for the dots, though. It is a dot after a fashion. I have a diamond shape on the original, I believe, if I switch back to Zenati. Yes. So this is more consistent here. So I should use this shape on the dotted glyphs. And think of something else for the rounded ones. Yes, yes, it is. It's also a bit easier to center too. Because the line of the shape is actually in the center weight wise. That, that. I can go back and precisely center these times. I'm far too picky about the positions of things. It doesn't really matter most of the time. So that's all of those there. That's everything. Okay, so now I need to go back here and look at these two shapes here, where this is supposed to indicate rounding. And I need something that doesn't look like a European diacritic. I could borrow from Greek again and use a little W shape, which is, of course, borrowing from the European writing system, but yes, because these are not right here now. So if I zoom in and copy that, no, I will butcher this first. Oh, with the knife. Actually, I don't even need the knife. Curve. They're component. Get rid of them. Line. I don't think you could do this. Oh, come on. Why will you not let me select that? There, thank you. So those both come over to here. That's good. Come over here. And now, funny, the drawing features of this thing don't really work right sometimes. Okay, so we are going to line that up. Without those changes, come on. Line from there to there. Good enough. And a line from here to there. Makes a solid shape. Kinda. Okay, so there's a trick for this discovered, which is to highlight the whole thing, go to contour and join. Now, I copy that and paste it, and tools, transform, flip horizontal, and then move that over. There. And this over a little bit. Control F10. I now have a sort of also rounded shape. That is, put a curve on that though. So now I could use that as a diacritic. What you think? All 5 of you. Hey, 5. Cool. Well, okay, that is true. And I could change some of this by rotating some of the shapes a little bit, like the Greek S over top there. I could rotate it 45 degrees so that the line goes up on a angle or something like that. We are trying to imitate to a great degree a fairly influential European font. And all this stuff gets iterated again and again and again, and I will decide I don't like a thing and change it again. But these aren't regular diacritics. I mean, European languages don't have a patent on verticals, on circles, on shapes like this diacritic here, which also looks remarkably like something in, is it Javanese? That has all the curves and shapes. I mean, and there's writing systems in India that have this sort of shape too. There's no copyright on all that stuff. You see what I mean? Yeah, Feral Kitty. That's what I mean. The if I do this thin on the top like this, I have to do the same thing on the bottom. It has to be a shape that is suitable to it, but is on the bottom. And I actually don't mind both of these. I'm perfectly fine with trying this in place of the existing glyph that I had, which wasn't very good. That's all that there is to it. It just wasn't very good. And looked way too much. Where's the other one? Here. There. Looked way, I don't know how it looked. It looked wrong. Very European. This still does, but it's not as bad. Now, what do I do with the bottom? The big argument might be that these narrow little diacritics clash with the big blocky verticals on everything else here. And maybe they do. Maybe it doesn't look consistent. I don't think it's that bad. People are used to diacritics being tiny little marks. What can I do on the bottom? That is different. Still work. How about I go in here, grab this, zoom out, wrong way, out, out, out. This one has it at the bottom too. Wipe that out. Paste that in, down to the bottom. Then I had this thought in my brain, and now it is disappeared. Tools, transform, the vertical. Actually, what is it? That's D dot. Back over here. So I have S dot and D dot and D dot. So the bottom shape should be different, but contour, no, tours, tools, transform, flip horizontal. What can I do with that? What if I disassemble this? No. One shape that will not let me select it. There. No. Okay. Take that shape, copy it. Oh, close it actually. And then copy. Oh, that tool I don't. No. that. Contour, no tools, transform, flip, vertical. That up. Back to a full circle. Then bring out the knife. Oh. That. Close again. Didn't close properly. Control Z. No. Why did it do that? Mysteries that shall never be answered. So draw a line from there, there, only it didn't snap at all. Because it's trying to snap to the grid. And it is not on the grid. That's what it's doing. Sure, there's a command to tell it to turn off snap grid, but I don't know what it is off the top of my brain. Same problem there. Now, highlight all that and go contour, join. Does that look terrible? Or too derivative of all the others? I just realized I had you on the wrong screen again, so you couldn't see anything of what I was doing. So if we're borrowing from Greek heavily, maybe I'll borrow some more. Because to me, I looked at this and thought, you know, that shape isn't quite right. It should have lines coming out from it, like the serif bits here, but then that would turn it into an omega. Oh, you're not right screen. I don't know what I can take from Cyrillic. Spanish tilde, but flip sideways. Yeah. I want to look too much like a. A tilde for me. Yeah, no, I know. I know what the tilde looks like. I do. I'm just Enya. Is that the name? I don't have any Spanish, unfortunately. I remember taking it briefly in school. Don't remember a damn thing. And when I do, it gets confused with Russian. There's no reason why it should, but it does. Um. Oh no, it's very easy for me to completely forget something viable, and important like that. I just had a thought too. Not what I asked you to do. Just wanted to draw a line from there to there. You're not doing it. There, there. The old fashioned way. Oh, we won't, because now to grid, raising a dark and ugly head again. Okay. Contour. Join. Hey. Now, if I take that shape and I transform, flip vertical, can I do something? No. I don't think this would work because I think it would be very difficult to distinguish small scale. So I was looking at a curved shape like that, but I think that that's not going to work either because it's just too complex. Um, Interesting, but no cigar. Copy, go to bit, out, paste it somewhere, and probably ignore it. So that was Try something very simple, kind of like what I was getting rid of. The diamond shape, sort of. Here on that screen. Zoom in a bit. And a bit bigger. Ah, hello. Presumably means you're out there in the stream, Joseph. Oh, that is centered. Quite centered there either. Minus, minus. That centered on midway through here. Well, no, see, the Spanish put the tilde over the N to imply that it has the, um, what do you call it, that it's palatalized. Uh, Cyrillic does it by saying the vowel is palatalized. So you have yeah. I don't know if we have any words in English that really are comparable to that or not. Don't know what I think of that. Now, what I could do would be to go in here and just take this, make that, well, won't be that shape. Need to add in some more points. Nice. A bit too small. I don't know if any European languages uses the diacritic below, like a circumflex below. But I don't like it. And I didn't like the diamond either. Didn't mind it as much, but it looked very heavy in comparison to these light little shapes that I'm using now. So I need a light little shape of some sort. Guess I could try that. I could go back to here. Copy one of those. Back to here. Go D dot. Down here. Paste. Get where it actually went. There. Oh, very cool. You need to, in my opinion, anyway, sit down and draw it out very carefully on graph paper to get it in the right proportions and then figure out how to make font. It can be done. I am living proof. Going to zoom way in, figure out why there is a line there. Doesn't actually need to be there. I am going to be making a video. This is my intent. Make a video. Oh, that didn't work. On how to get started in doing all this stuff, because I think it might be overwhelming to some people and look more complex than it is. And maybe I can help with that, right? But I haven't gotten there yet. This is the thing. And keep in mind, too, that your spelling rules don't necessarily have to make sense. Like, there can be letters that are part of your orthography, like they are in English, but nobody speaks them exactly like in English because they are things that were present in the past and then your language changed. That one there, like that. And we are going to try and make a ball of the appropriate size, shall we? Or just a horizontal line? Just a horizontal line. I'm now going back to the original shape that I had, but as a smaller mark. So if we shorten that back down again, and we lengthen that out a lot, and the whole thing gets dropped down more, a lot more. It's too wide. That could go up more. Excuse me. Okay. Now if we go to preview, I have this little hook shape on the bottom there, which I don't know if I like it or not, but there it is. but it needs to be moved down, I think. And I need to look at it. See, it's a big solid hook shape there in the old version. And when I come back here, it's this tiny little shape, and maybe that just doesn't work either. Maybe I had a better shot over here at one of these, and I'm just spinning my wheels. Here, this is my scratch pad of shapes that I've used. Oh, there's a thought too. But if I take that, over, chop it off about there, knife, join it up again. In. That up. Straighten it up. To go. A little over like that. And then what do we have there? D dot. Oh, I don't know what happened there. D dot. So D dot. Do we know we want to go to the one that voice? Here, DH. Get rid of that. Now reverse direction on it. Contour. That back a bit. That back a bit. Oh, you are on the right screen for once. I'm not doing it all incorrect. And go over here. That doesn't look right either. Third one over. I don't like that because it's too insubstantial. This isn't bad, but this is just too insubstantial. I did like that, but it's very heavy. And once I put the small diacritics in there, I got to lighten the diacritic down here. And I thought, oh, I could take that shape there and put the horizontal element back in again, but that just looked like crap. Okay, so rid of back here, color that one red because something has to be done with it. So that's a reminder to fix a problem. Go back over here, take this shape, copy it, put over both, flip them vertically. Come on, where is it? Tools, transform, the vertical. Take that one, flip horizontal. Stick those together into some weird sort of U-shaped thing. Which is too wide. Nope, that doesn't look good either. And that looks too small. I could widen it. Move it further away. That. Nope, don't like that either. I'm rapidly running out of things that I like, and I may have to step back and think about this. Now I'm going to try a really simple upside down triangle and see how that looks. Go wider, down too far, because you can always adjust the size. A little too big. Yeah. Three, three, up. A sideways Latin U. That would be sort of a C or a C backwards. How wide are those up there? That up top. Compare it. It would be too narrower. That's the other thing I could do would be to flip it vertically. Transform, flip vertical. Where's the center way to that circle? 1.5 over, so probably needs to be adjusted, maybe about there. And now, of course, because this font software is inherently inaccurate for some reason, flip something and it loses all of its positioning just a bit. I don't think that helps either, and it doesn't line up with the rest of it height-wise. Actually, be down there. Which is wrong too. So nope, don't like that. Back to here. That one's highlighted. Good. Can highlight the rest. I'm changing. I figure out the solution too. And that one. Keep forgetting. I can up here too. Not that. 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 See, this symbol arguably is more important because it's used everywhere. And I don't know what I'm doing with it. The triangle, when I look at here, is way too light. And the same thing with that circle up there. It might need to be heavier too. It doesn't look bad on preview because it's a big version of it. But when I go back here and look at the small letters, that is almost lost right there. You may not even be able to see it on screen. The triangle certainly is toast. Now, I could just use a geometric shape and make a bigger triangle. Solid. then when we go back here, oh, we are there. It's visible at least. That's another thing I can go back and look at the original Zenati light. What do you want to call it? Libico Berber shapes, and say what can I use from there. And there's quite a bit of options there that I have not touched. I'm not going to use 3 dots. That's way too suggestive of Arabic or something like that. Not sure I like any of those. That may be top part of that shape there, which is close to what I had originally. Could do this, but if I switch that to say 12, you can see these a little bit better when I come on here because I've made them a little bit bigger. And you can see how light those top glyph diacritics are. They need to be heavier. Definitely need to be heavier. Whereas my triangle here does work. It's heavy enough. I wonder how it would look if I did the same thing I was trying to do before. Put that shape off to the side. Excuse me. Need to have its proportions changed. So that would make it look like that. Oh, it's too tall. That would make it look like that, which I also don't mind. Maybe the triangle part needs to be a little smaller. If I move that to there, and back to here. No, it was better when it was bigger. The finicky little crap like this, it can take forever to develop stuff, the result. Like I screw around with stuff like this for ages trying to get everything laid out the way I want it laid out. And I go back and change it again and again and again. What happens if we flip it vertically? Actually, I kind of don't mind that. I know I said that earlier too. So that would actually be centered there. When I compare it to this one over here, it's okay. I need to put some other text in there, I guess. Kind of needs to go up. Wrong screen. Like that. But I don't mind that. That's basically just a triangle below the glyph to indicate that the glyph is a voiced consonant. What I need to do up top there is figure out how to make that heavier without looking too bad too. And I suppose I could just shrink the inner circle and leave that bit there. We can try that. Draw a smaller circle. Not that small. Of course. Smaller than that. Until I need more caffeine. Four, two, aren't quite the same. Get rid of that one. Grab this one and reverse contour. That's a bit heavier. Quite a bit heavier. Put all over here so I can make sure everything is lined up on grid and move it back, but that all looks pretty lined up. Now go to there. And when I go back out here, is it more visible? Little bit. Ah, thank you. Of course, I have my monitors on the side vertically, so I can't really see everything very well here. Now, I know that's handwritten, but one thing you want to try and make sure you're doing, I think, is keep the top of the glyphs and the bottom of the glyphs at equal height unless they're intentionally taller, like a uppercase letter in English or a capital L or something like that. In which case, they should be an equal distinction above it. When you look at font software like this, there is, well, not like that because we're zoomed in way too far, but there is the baseline of a glyph, the upper line of a glyph, which I've gone one above on this grid, but the distance between there and there is called the X height. This is called the X height line because that's the standard height for a lowercase x in the Latin alphabet. And then above that, you have the caps height line, which is the height that your capitals could extend to, or the ascending part, the top part of a lowercase d. And then you have the descender line down below there, which is as low as the descending elements, like the tail on a P or Q can go. And a lot of people, when they're making their writing system, don't pay attention to the height of everything to make sure it's all equal. Now, I know that's handwritten. You'd be doing it differently if you're on a piece of software and stuff. Yeah, no problem. It all evolves. My my most evolved writing system is called Ashwadi. There's a video for it if you haven't seen it. Um, that has gone through, I think, 115 or 125 revisions as a font. It started off as a sketch on graph paper and evolved from there, but it's gone through endless modification. This here needs to actually be bigger, period. So we're going to try. I'm going to try zooming in some because I have a limited amount. I can actually go to the caps height. So I could try 3 by 3 like that. Select that one and reverse contour so it becomes a hollow shape. And zoom in a whole pile to add this onto there like that. And I think that's actually better than this because this one is still too light when you look. Oh, but then if I, no, I have got too far. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, back over here. That's a lot heavier, but it needs to be pretty heavy to show up. If I put a Y inside it, different height than the Y. And I could adjust the Y. If I go back to here, the only character that has an ascender is that there, which is NG, and NG, N, and Y. NG doesn't display correctly. So I've got some error in my code. And N. Okay. Over to features for only the second time here. That's trying to display an capital N. And what it should say is NG, semicolon. Save. File. And now when you go over here, you see the NG, this glyph right here, doesn't have a vowel attached to it, which is a little odd. So it must be not in a particular class where it should be. And I could simply go to Y. Raise it up to the same level, which is 2 under 750. If I go there, that's 2 under 750 there for the riser, sender. This here is 2 under 750, so that is definitely the right spot. Then I need to go to N, raise the top of N to be 2 under 750. Of course, that's its own number, and I should be able to remember that, but I don't. And then no others there. NG. Oh, I need to stop soon. Okay, so now if I go, if I take a look at this here, these are all even across the top there, which is one of the things I'm trying to do. The little serif there is even to that serif there, even though this bit weighs a little bit below it. All of that could actually be raised up a bit, I think. But it's not bad. This, of course, is not spelling anything out properly. It's just showing off D dot versus T dot, which has the later version in which you really can't see. And when I go back over here and go to the full window, you can see the heavy marks below here, diacritics below there. They're the ones I'm replacing. You can see that one there, which is essentially just a triangle. It might have a little serif off to one side, but it doesn't really matter. I suppose I could put it on both sides. That would be a bit different too. Actually, maybe that'd be more consistent. I'm gonna look at that. I will take that, copy it, go back to Scratchpad, save it, and leave it there. Go back over here to this. That left a little bit. That's a length of 4. Add one on the other side. Sure. Okay, that is more visible. I don't know if I like it or not yet, but it's more visible. That's probably what's going to end up being on these other ones over here. So the old font, this would have looked like that. Pretty substantial difference. I'm not sure those circles on top are working, much as I like the idea and I appreciate it. The symbol below is working. Okay, file, save. Um, I didn't think there was going to be a third thing to this, but maybe there will be. Um, I am going to have to go through all these and make it consistent and settle on something and see what I think of it. I don't think that I am going to try a sort of bubbly font version of this yet, just because I don't want to go raving mad, set my beard on fire, and drown myself in the toilet out of frustration. That would be very hard to do. This has been challenging enough. I am going to stop. Thank you very, very much. I will display this again. If you want to support me on Patreon, go to patreon.com, ThatFontGuy. And for $1 a month, you can support me. Plus, you can download many of the fonts that I've made. Not this one, not until it's done. When it's done, then I'll post all of these up there too. And this one will be part of the uh, SIL open font license, probably because I'm trying to give people a writing system. So I can't really very much give it to them and say, oh, but hang on, I've got copyright on that. You can't use it unless you do something, No, I'm not going to do that. It'll be SIL open license, just like, FOSS, free and open software, um, open source license. So, yeah, that's been part 2 of doing this. Um, Thank you to the people that stuck around. Thank you to the people that showed up. Thank you for the help. And we will see you next time. It's awesome fun to have people watch me do stuff I would have done anyway. And offer suggestions and help, and I really appreciate it. So have a good day. Um, Good luck in anything you're creating, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.